I've been an editor for 3 years, and I think the one thing that I've neglected most in my earlier years was my portfolio. At first, I went on this website called Behance, which is like it's like Adobe's software or Adobe's website for you to go and upload all your work. It's like a portfolio maker basically, but it was just, I just remember it was being so half-assed, and I thought that I just had to put everything on there. Like, I had stuff like graphic design and thumbnails. I had motion design. I had like music videos. I thought I had to do everything, and I had to put everything that I knew I could do in somewhat way. Like, not even my best work, just anything that I could, I just slap on there. Like, I remember thinking it felt like very lazy to me. Like, it wasn't a project that I actually had put my all into it. When I was younger, when I was in like middle school, you know, as Americans would say, we say primary school, but essentially when I was in middle school, whenever I had like this homework to do, I would always half-ass it first until I got caught. Like, until somebody held me accountable. Like, if my teacher said, like, what is this? You can do better, Danny. I know you can do better than this. I just had the same feeling when I was thinking about my portfolio, in which I was like, oh, I can just tell. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for somebody to say it's bad. But realistically, I should take accountability now. Like, I should say this isn't good enough. And so I thought, yeah, I'm gonna make something completely new. I'm gonna go and make a website instead of just using this shitty Behance website to make my portfolio. When I had that Behance website, I just put everything that I could. Like I said, I put stuff like thumbnails, and I wasn't even a thumbnail designer. I didn't want it, but I was just thinking, oh, you know, if clients are looking for an editor that can do thumbnails, I'll do that too. Like, I want extra money, so I'm gonna do this. You know, I'm gonna do thumbnails if it means getting more money. But it was actually doing more harm to me than it was benefiting me. And I think this was just because I thought that editing was binary. Like, if you don't know what I mean by binary, I thought it was just, you have to do this to get that result. But what I didn't think about was, how good do I have to do this to get that result? If you do this, but you half-ass it, you can like scrape your way and get the result that you want. Like, I was thinking, okay, if I make a meh portfolio with meh work and my Twitter was meh, then I could get good clients, because at least I did all three, right? Like, I did all three, right? So that means I can get, that means I can get a client, whatever it was a client. But that wasn't the case, because clients are always looking for editors. They are the ones who are hiring. And then they have this huge wave of editors just coming into their faces saying, hey, hire me. Hey, I'll do it, bro. Just check your DMs. I'll do it. So now they've got this long list of editors. Remember, every single time you're applying for a job, it's not just you. There's a long list of editors they're going through, and they're trying to see who is most fitted, who is most suited to edit their videos. So you always need to make sure that you have something over the other guys, And if your portfolio is shit, or if your portfolio isn't that good, if it's on a Google Drive, or if it's on a website that looks scrappy and pretty shit, then chances are you're not gonna have that over many of the other editors on the list. Like, you need to be so certain that your portfolio, that your website is good enough to the point where you're gonna beat everyone on the list. If you don't know who I am, my name's dannyrio. I've been editing for 3 years now, and I've worked with some of the biggest creators in the world, amassing tens of millions of views across my entire portfolio, working with people like Nico Milana and Sharky from the Beta Squad, amongst many other people that you can find in my portfolio. I went through 3 stages of my portfolio, in which the first one, like I said, being the Behance, and then I made myself an actual website, but it still wasn't good enough. And now what I've got is something a lot more advanced and looking a lot better, and something where I've put all my research and thought into, and I've got a portfolio that's actually landing me clients that are paying 1,000, like 1,200, 1,500 to 3,000 pounds per video. Like, the biggest mistake when it comes to portfolios and with editors thinking about and designing their portfolios is that they think it's a gallery. They think it's a chance to put all of their work onto their, onto their website or onto their portfolio. Think of it this way. Imagine if you were the client and you were hiring an editor, and then this editor hits you up and says, hey man, I want to work with you, and they send you this wall of text and then a link to their portfolio. And then you think, okay, I'm not going to read all that because I can't be asked. So you click on the link, and then he basically does the same thing with his portfolio. Like, it's just a wall of shorts and long form videos that realistically you're just not going to click on. So there's a thing called the paradox of choice, which essentially means that if you have too much, you're going to go from having a problem of which you don't have something to there's too many options of it, so I'm just not going to pick anything, because I can't be bothered picking between like the hundreds of things that are on my screen. When a client clicks on your link and they go to your website or your portfolio or whatever, and then they see like this wall of a bunch of videos, they run into this paradox of choice in which they don't know what to click on. Like, oh, which video is their best? Like, do I click on this one, or do I click on that, or who am I kidding? There's like 100 things here. I'm not going to click on anything. I'm going to skip this guy. I'm going to go to the next portfolio. And that's what happens. Just like that, you get skipped. Instead of filtering it down and making it easier for the client to just look at your best stuff and make a decision there, they're just gonna skip you because they can't be bothered looking through your stuff. You need to start respecting your clients, or like this potential client's time. So there's sort of like this sense of I don't know if I'd say entitlement, maybe like arrogance, where people think that things are gonna go their way. Like, you have to do this because I can't imagine a way where you're not gonna follow through with my terms. What I'm talking about is like, editors will seem to think that things are gonna go their way. Like, the client is gonna look at all their videos and they are going to like start talking to them. But you need to stop thinking like that and start thinking, how can I make it super easy for them? Like, how can I make this as easy as them as possible? Because this isn't about you, this is about them and who they're gonna hire. You need to stop thinking of your portfolios as galleries and start thinking of them as pitches. Like, imagine it's not a place for you to just show off everything that you've done so people can come and just admire your work. It's a place where people will come to you and see if you're good enough for the job that they are offering. Are you worthy of this money that I am willing to just throw at you, you know? It is, I guess, a sense of entitlement in a way, but it is. It is. I'm gonna be honest. It is. It's just a sense of entitlement where you think that the client will look through all your videos and they will think about choosing you, when that's not the case. There's so much competition out there, and they probably have a list of like 10, 20 other editors that they're willing to pick. If you aren't willing to put in your best into stuff like your portfolio, then you're not even gonna get past stage 1, okay? Stage 1 is the portfolio, and then stage 2 is the trial, and then stage 3, you're gonna get hired. Or, you know, maybe you don't. So there's a reason why I got paid like shit tons of money for certain videos, is because I oblige to all of these terms. I understand that it's a lengthy process and I have to put in my all for every single one of these if I want to get to like the big results. Now, in terms of treating your portfolio like a pitch, I want you to think of it this way. Imagine you walk into this like boardroom or like this meeting room. You know those rooms in like those offices with those really long tables and a bunch of chairs around them where people will sit and they'll make discussion, like they'll have a discussion, okay? Now imagine at the end of that table, there's like 4 or 5 people, or maybe just one person, okay? Imagine it's just the one person, the client that's hiring you. And he's just sitting there, you know, he's laid back, he's smug, he's waiting for you to just show him what you've got, okay? And your job is to come in there and to show him everything that you've got, okay? Imagine you have like this big whiteboard and you're supposed to say like who you are, what you can do, what you've done already, you know, proof of work and your statistics and stuff, you know, as you'd usually do in a pitch. Instead of this like imaginary whiteboard next to you, it's your portfolio. Like, this portfolio is supposed to be a pitch to all the clients that are looking to hire you or looking to hire somebody. Now, in this pitch meeting, it's just you and him and again, your portfolio. Now, what your portfolio or your pitch is supposed to include is a variety of things. So you put your best work, your client list, how long you've been working for, your testimonials, and your statistics. Now, with your best work, you put whatever you feel is suited. Put your best work that clients will be expecting you to do. If you ever had a client where they tell you to step out of your comfort zone and then apply to their style, like, you need to adapt to our style, you know, this is how we do stuff, and then you edit like that. If you're putting that video on your portfolio, you're letting every other future client know that you're willing to edit like that. Or you can put all your best work in your own editing style or editing styles that you're comfortable working with, and then you put that on there so you can let clients know, hey, this is how I edit and this is how I'm going to do things for you, and here's how it's performed. Like, if it does well, then put the views on there, you know, or put the testimonial. Say the client loved it and they should be willing to take the risk of letting you edit in your style and have that sort of creative freedom in their videos. And more importantly, put the work with the best intros. Like, creators aren't going to be looking through the entire video that you put down. They're probably going to look at the intro or like the highlights of the part or the comments, or they're going to be like taking tiny little looks. They're not going to take digs throughout the entire thing, because again, they don't have that sort of time on their hands, and you should respect that time by putting the best work on your portfolio. Now, your client list is optional. If it's people that aren't too well known, then I wouldn't really bother putting it there, because you're just wasting space on the website. However, if you put very established creators or creators that are well known and have a lot of connections, and they're there to testify for, you know, how well you've been doing, then sure, put them there. If you're very new to editing and you haven't got your first 5 clients or you haven't gone through many clients, then chances are the clients that you have have been working with aren't that well known. Instead of putting the clients that you've worked with, put the testimonials, because now you have credibility. People are saying that they've loved your work and things that you've been doing best at. Testimonials are like your reinforcement. Remember, your work is the most important part, so that the client knows that you're reliable and then you're not like some sort of fraud or scam or shit. Like, you have your testimonials and you can quote people, you know, on what they've said about your work. Now, if you don't have that, the next time you finish a video, ask for your client's feedback or ask for their testimonials. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe your work does the talking for you and it's so good that they give you one anyways. Now, in terms of how long you've been doing it, now never feel the need to put a higher number than you've actually been working for. So here's the thing. I've been editing for, I say, 3 years. Now, when you started editing can be either the first time you touched an editing software, your very first client, your first editing project. Generally, it's a huge range. Now, for me, the first time I touched an editing software is 2018. It would feel like a complete lie if I said to people that I've been editing for 6 years. But I say 3 years because it's my first content. It's the first work that I've been proud of that's been published, where I got paid content-wise. I started out in the Fortnite highlight scene, where I've been editing these Fortnite videos for like a couple of pennies, really. But it doesn't really feel applicable to what I do now. I don't really count it as the beginning of my career. I've had a few clients, but honestly, my journey really felt like it was starting when I moved into the content scene, which was July, I believe like July or March 2021. With Fortnite highlights, I've been doing since like 2020. So again, you can put it however you want, but it's never going to help you if you put more. And here's why. Imagine I took your work, except there's 2 of you, and let's say one of you has been working for 2 years, but the other one of you has been working for 7 years. Now, who am I going to hire? You're probably thinking the guy with the 7 years, because he's got more experience. He's been doing this longer. Because the person that's been working for 2 years, remember, they have the same work and they have the same client list and everything. This guy's been doing more in the span of 2 years than this guy has for 7. This guy's been working for 2 years and he's matched what the other guy's got. Like, this kid is going places, and this kid is probably just very complacent and laid back, and he doesn't really strive for much. Hey, I'm and I've been working for 6 years, 7, like even 11. I've seen people working for like 11, 12, 13 years, and they'll say that I've got like a degree in video editing. But then you look at their work and it's complete horseshit. I apologize if I've really offended anyone here, but this should be a wake-up call to you. If you say that you've been working for so long, and you see there's other people who've been working, they haven't been working as long as you have, but they have better results, then that should be a wake-up call to you to say, hey man, either you're not telling the truth with how long you've been doing this, or you've been doing this for so long and you're not getting anywhere. Now, I'm not here to judge you, I'm here to help you. And again, don't lie, don't twist it and say that you've been working for 2 months, when realistically, you've had your first client like fucking years ago, okay? Start from when you first got your client work, when you first had your first client pay you for a video, okay? That's when shit starts. Pick when you've got your first client, when you've been first paid, that's when you started editing, okay? Don't stretch it a tiny bit to say that you've been working for longer. Don't do the complete opposite to say that you've been working less time and you've had more done, because realistically, you're just lying to yourself and you're a fraud. Now, your statistics is very optional. Again, if you haven't been working for long, then that's fine. You don't need to feel the need to put statistics on and say it's very impressive. However, if you have been working for a while and you think that you've got some pretty impressive views on some videos, then feel free to show it off. Like, this is just more material to testify to your work. Like with me, I have my videos linked and then I've got the amount of views and the client and stuff, but that's because I've been doing this for a while and I've got a lot of results on my videos. If you've been editing for a few months or like a year and you haven't seen crazy results, then it's fine. You don't need to. This is a very optional thing. You don't have to include it. But remember to put your best work. What you should be focusing on is putting on your best work that you'd be willing to apply to future clients' videos. I would really recommend sticking to about 3 to 4 videos at best. Don't feel the need to put in a video that you feel like you should, just because there's like one animation that you did like 7 minutes or no 2 minutes in, okay? Because they're never gonna see that. If you've done like something cool or something impressive that you'd want to show off, then put it into a show reel. Don't put it in your portfolio. When you put all of your work down and you put everything that you've done, you're not really filtering it down to who you want to work with. Back in 2020, I remember I was watching videos of the Beta Squad in my bed or like on the sofa, and I just watched them on the TV and I thought, it would be so cool to meet them one day. Like, imagine if I just met them and I said my name and, we've got a picture and then that was that. And I just thought it would be so cool, but I would keep daydreaming about it to the point where it was just sort of like self-delusion. And I was just like, I'd wake up and then I'd be like, Danny, it's never gonna happen. Just wake up, man. Just get on with your life. Go to fucking school. Go do your fucking homework. It's never gonna happen. So when I got to work with Nico and Sharky, I've never worked on the Beta Squad channel itself, but I've worked with creators in the Beta Squad. And to me, that's just as good. Like, I felt so accomplished and I felt so good to work with my dream clients. And it was such a surreal moment, and the style that I learned for editing helped me get there. Had I made a portfolio mainly just for finance and mainly gaming videos and things that are completely like unrelated to my dream clients, then they might have never ever worked with me. Because I edited videos in a style suited to my my dream clients, I got to work with them. If you have somebody that you want to work with, or you have a certain genre or niche that you want to work in like long term, which I wouldn't advise, but if there is a niche that you want to work with or like a certain creator, then focus on that. Put that on your portfolio rather than putting like fucking everything. If you made like one short for like $10 and then you half-assed it and you put it up there anyways, it's just fluff on your website that no one's gonna look at. And if they do, they're gonna say this guy's horseshit. When instead they could have looked at like your best work that you've done for like $100 or $50 or something. If you want to start working with these higher paying clients that you really want to work with, then start putting your best work that's tailored to them the most. If I just worked with like Roblox videos my entire editing career, do you think I would have gotten to work with the creators that I worked with? No, I wouldn't have. They wouldn't have actually hired me. And in fact, this happened to me once. I have two friends in the editing scene that are very close to me and that I've known them for years. And one day they landed this client 7 million subscribers and they were paying $200, I think $20 at the time per video. That would be like a 1-day deadline. And to me, that was like the most mind-blowing number I think ever. Like I've never heard of something so high. And at the time I was working with this client, the video would take me like 2 weeks to do and I'd get paid $50. So in the time that they took, they were making $200 overnight. Whereas I was taking 2 weeks to make $50. So when I saw that this client that they were working for had an open position for an editor, I wanted to join, and I was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna go apply for this. I want to work with this guy. This is the guy I want to work with because he's so much bigger than my current clients and he's paying so much more. So I did that. And it went horribly. Like, it was so bad. I sent this wall of text and with my portfolio, and my portfolio, like I said, was on Behance, and it had a bunch of work that had nothing to do with his content. He was a Fortnite creator and I didn't get to work with him, and I was so distraught. I just remember feeling just so angry, looking at the time. Like, I would go on my phone and I would just look at the time go by, and I'll just keep like refreshing my phone to see if he replied or if he said something or said that I was hired or something, and he never did. Like, that entire night he never DM'd me, and I was just so distraught. Now a few months go by and I'm starting to work on more gaming related, and more specifically Fortnite. Like, I've had more Fortnite stuff, my portfolio started looking better, and then this guy has another positioning open, like the same client that I missed out on before. This is like 3-4 months later, and this guy had a position opening again, and he was looking for an editor, and I went directly again. I said, hey man, instead of sending a wall of text, I just said, hey, I saw that you're looking for an editor, here's my portfolio. And I sent him my portfolio again, except this time it had Fortnite, like it had Fortnite content on there. And a few hours go by and I had nothing, and I thought, why the hell do I even try? Like, why do I even try anymore? This guy's never gonna hire me. And I just hopped on Fortnite myself. I was playing with my friends on Fortnite, and I just get a text, and it's a Twitter notification. It says, yo, I saw your work, bro, and I fucking love it. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, really? And like, is this fucking real? This guy has 7 million subscribers. This guy's huge. He's just DM'd me. Like, this guy's verified, and I was freaking out. Like, I couldn't believe that what was so impossible a few months ago actually had worked this time. So the fact that I got to bag this guy was so incredible, and I realized it was because that I actually started focusing on content that was more suited to his style. And my portfolio was a lot more filtered this time. I didn't have like that motion design shit. I didn't have those thumbnails and stuff. I just cleaned up, and although I was still using Behance, it was a lot more clear, and I had Fortnite videos there, and I got hired because of it. Now, in terms of how to make your portfolio and what to make it with, I used Card, and now I'm using Framer. Now with Card, it costs you like $9 a year. Well, they have like three plans. Like, one is like $19 and another one's like $20 a year. So could you imagine you could pay off an entire year's worth of like this pricing plan for your portfolio in just one video? You might hear a lot of people say first impressions matter. Like, you know, first impressions matter. Make sure they make the most of your first impression, because you want to impress somebody. So this doesn't only just go for when you're meeting new people, or like if you're meeting friends of friends, you know, make sure you have a good first impression. These are the same with job interviews. You want to make sure they have a good first impression. And it's just like that with editing, in which when you're about to apply for a job with a client, if you want to apply for their role of, you know, editor, you need to make sure you have a good first impression, and that's through your portfolio. And here's why it's very important to make sure that you keep this in mind with editing. And there's this thing called the halo effect, which describes this perfectly. And the halo effect essentially means people will have a good impression of you. They'll have good thoughts of you, you know, next time they think of you, because of like one tiny detail in your first impression. And this applies with your portfolios, in which if your portfolio is good, and it's so good to the point where it's very memorable, and they think of you when they're going through this, you know, when they're going through their list of editors they want to go through and, you know, see if they're good enough, and they go through this guy, yeah, he's cool, this guy's fine. This guy's, you know, he was pretty shit, so I'm gonna skip him. And then this guy, whoa, this guy, I remember his portfolio, like, that really stuck with me, you know? You wanna be that guy. You wanna be that guy where people think, I remember this guy, like, he was good. I kept him on the, you know, save for later list, you know? So they'll go through, like, the stage of filtering down 30 editors down to, like, the top 5. And you wanna be in that top 5. And then you obviously wanna be picked. If you wanna apply the halo effect, if you wanna make sure that you stick with them, like, people remember you when they're going through the portfolio list, is that you wanna have something good, something presentable. Now, card is good. Card can get you the basics. Card can get shit. It works, basically, it works. However, if you're willing to invest into your craft, okay, if you really want to make shit work for you and have something impressionable that will leave clients thinking, yeah, I remember that guy, he was good, then I recommend that you get Framer. Now, Framer is a bit trickier to learn, but in the long term it works. It's what I use now, and it looks so much better than Card like ever could, because it costs a bit more. It costs, instead of costing like $10-20 a year, it costs like $150 a year. Now, I know at first you might be thinking that's too much, like I can't afford that, but here's how you gotta think of it. Now, there's another term I want to use here called low cost, high value. Now, this doesn't mean like objective equality or objective cost. This means like your low cost being it won't cost you, it won't cost a lot, you know, in the long term, and also in the long term it will be high value. Now, low cost, high value in this sense would be if you will spend this 150, or if you'll just spend the time to learn and to make a good website. You'll spend like a good while, maybe like a week or two, or like really put your mind to it and make something good out of this. In the long term, it will be very high value. It's very low cost because it only took you a couple weeks. But this 150 now, it will cost you a bit of money, but in the long term, it will make you a shit ton more. You'll be getting more clients, you'll be getting better clients, and overall your work will look a lot better. And this halo effect will apply to you all because of this low cost at the beginning. You paid this 150, which is a pretty hefty amount at first, but it will really serve you in the long run. So if you're somebody who doesn't have a portfolio, or somebody that has like those Google Drives or Behance or something shit that just isn't very presentable, then I would recommend that you start stepping up. You start paying for things like Card, or, you know, if you've got the balls for it, go for Framer. If you can afford it, go for Framer. Or if you're somebody that already has Card and they feel like they're not getting enough, or like the good clients, then I think it's time for you to step up and get Framer. Because I've used Framer and it's got me the clients that I've got now. It's been low cost because I've already had to pay for it. I'm sure I'm gonna have to pay for it like sometime late this year. But in the long term, I have profited so much because of it. Like I said, I've bagged clients that have been paying me thousands to edit their videos. So I've already like 10x'd this one investment in a single video. Another thing that completely goes over editors' heads is their Twitter. People forget that their Twitter is also their portfolio. Now, if you're watching this, then you're probably looking to make just a portfolio, but I'm gonna give you something a bit extra here. Your Twitter, in a sense, is also your portfolio. Now, there's a lot of editors out there that I see that are posting shit like giveaways, or just shit posting, like talking about their day, you know, saying, hey editors, do you think of this, or do you think of that? Like, hey editors, wake up, like rise and grind and stuff like that. While you guys are trying to appeal to each other and trying to, like, sure, grow a network, you're neglecting the fact that your Twitter is a place, like it's a place for you to show your work. Like, it's a chance for you to show your work and have that good first impression for your clients. Like, the majority of the clients that I've worked with, they'll hit me up on Twitter. Okay, remember that it's on Twitter, and I would always have, like, sure, nowadays I have like a bunch of, you know, tutorials and stuff, but that's because I'm moving into this place where I want to be creator for editors. So it's understandable for me to want to make stuff that'll appeal to you guys, because I feel like I've already reached everything that I've ever wanted to reach and all the goals that I've wanted to hit. But with you, when you're starting out, you want to make sure that your Twitter is clean and it's fresh and it just shows your best work. Client goes to message you and to say, hey, do you want to work with me? Or even if they're just looking through editors on Twitter and they want to see who's good enough for them, if they just look at the first few posts and they see that it's your work and they say, whoa, this guy's good, I don't even have to look at his portfolio because I like his stuff, they'll DM you immediately. But because you're so busy focused on posting giveaways and like trying to like make like a free pack, or you were trying to give away project files, or because you were trying to like again appeal to other editors, you fucked yourself over. Because now when a client, there's been a client, you guys don't know this, but clients look at your Twitter because they're thinking of hiring you, but then because they look through your tweets and they don't see a single bit of work, they skip over you. And you don't know that because Like there's no sign of it. But creators are looking at your Twitter. Every single day there's creators looking for editors, and they are going over your Twitter accounts. And if they're not seeing the work, they're not going to go for you, okay? So I'd advise that you start cleaning up your Twitter as well and start treating that like a portfolio. Your portfolio is your pitch. These are your first impressions that you're making with all these creators. And your first impression, again, matters most, because this is just going to help you. This is going to help you in the long run. Like they might not even have to look at your portfolio. That's an outcome that can happen if you start posting your work and if you start focusing on your best work. Again, this goes with your portfolio and with your Twitter. However, if you're shit posting on your Twitter, and if you're not showing your best work on your portfolio, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you're just making things hard for yourself for no reason, and that shouldn't be the case. Now, if you're watching this, then of course I've just given you all the secrets that you need to make a good portfolio, but maybe you just don't know how to do the technical parts of it. And if you want, I will make a video step by step how to make a portfolio on card. Like, I'll show you everything you need to know, everything how things work and how to do things on card. Anyways, let me know if that's something you want to see. Thank you for watching, and remember, you've got this, bro. Okay, I believe in you. Go and make that portfolio now, and peace.